Okay, anybody who's watching, hello, and if we are live, which I'm assuming, I'm being told we are, feel free to say hello in the chats. I think we'll see that maybe. Uh, so this week we're talking about the chapter on faith in Think and Grow Rich. This is a great chapter. I'm here with my cohorts. Walter Verdigo is back. We lost him last week. He wasn't here with us. We've got Karin broadcasting all the way from Austria, and of course, Mr. Eric Keys from Georgia. And I'm Lee Jenkins, and I'm also in Canada, like Walter. So our international group is here, and we're talking about something that I think realistically, if you don't have this, then the burning desire we talked about in chapter 1 there, or I guess technically our second show, probably isn't going to happen. We talked about a burning desire. And if you don't have faith in your heart, if you don't believe it in your heart that you're going to achieve that burning desire, well, I hate to break it to you, you might move towards it, but you're not going to achieve it. There has to be faith. And when we talk about faith, we're talking about an energy, a vibration, something that's going to, really get us not only attracted to us the things that we need to move forward, but it's going to keep us excited about moving forward. Like that's something that I do it all the time too. Is I say affirmations on a regular basis because it doesn't matter what kind of mood you're in, you can change it. And if you're feeling like you don't want to do something today, well, you can change that. We've all accomplished some pretty amazing things in our lives. Maybe we'll talk about that in a few minutes. But hi, Larry T. Daniels, who's saying hello to everyone. We've all accomplished some great things, and we're all working on some great things. And I can tell you that you have to have that faith in your heart, or it's not going to happen. And it doesn't matter in my mind. If you believe in a specific religion or you're spiritual or what you believe, is just you need to believe in a higher power of some kind. And you have to believe that higher power is going to guide you, because it will. I can talk from experience. It happens to me almost daily. I'm amazed at the things that I keep coming up with, ideas that keep coming to me. And, I could turn around and say, yeah, I'm some kind of a genius, which maybe I am. I don't know. The reality is I'm open enough to receive. And that's the key, is you have to have faith that the answer is coming, because it always does. There's a solution to everything. No matter what path you're on, you can hit a rock, you can hit a wall, you can stumble, you can fall. The reality is there's a solution to wherever you're at. As long as you have faith, it will be presented to you. In fact, the stronger your faith, less likely you're going to hit a wall. But sometimes you have to hit the wall to learn something. So I thought I'd start by just reading, the first part of faith in the chapter. And if you're following in our version, Think and Grow Rich, it's on page 55. And he talks about it being the second step towards riches. So he says, faith is a head chemist of the mind. When faith is blended with the vibration of thought, the subconscious mind instantly picks up the vibration, translates it into spiritual equivalent, and transmits it into infinite intelligence, as in the case of prayer. The emotion of faith, love, and sex are the most powerful of all the major positive emotions. When the three are blended, they have the effect of coloring the vibration of thought in such a way that it instantly reaches the subconscious mind, where it is changed into its spiritual equivalent, the only form that induces a response from infinite intelligence. Love and faith are physics, related to the spiritual side of man. Sex is purely biological and related only to the physical. The mixing or blending of these three emotions has the effect of opening a direct line of communication between the finite thinking mind of man and infinite intelligence. But it goes on to say, how do you develop faith? And I highlight this part here. Is faith is a state of mind which may be induced or created by affirmation or repeated instruction to the subconscious mind through the principle of autosuggestion, which autosuggestion is definitely something that, again, I use it on a regular basis, pretty much all day. Like I'll go for walks and actually listen to affirmations that I've recorded over music and things like that. I always come back energized. So, I can definitely attest to the power of having faith and believing that the answer will come. And again, I'm not talking about religion. Again, if you follow the religion and it works for you, keep doing it. But if that religion somehow causes you to think that you're not worthy of God's love and that beautiful vibration that comes to you from that part of the world, then maybe you need to make some changes. But again, if you're following something that works for you, I highly recommend you keep doing it. So, any thoughts on what we're just talking about? Want to throw in there or anything?
Yeah, I think you, go ahead, Eric. You want to jump
Oh, go
in?
ahead. You got it, man. You got it.
Yeah. I mean, so my program, you can, it's called, see, mark, and see, believe, achieve, receive. So the receive part of it, and very similar. We all come from a similar sort of approaches. So part of my program is actually building up a vision board and doing affirmations and working out your goals and your values and all of that. But that receive really translates into faith, because it is the missing link. People, you can come up with a fantastic idea, you can have the belief you're going to initially achieve it, you can do the things to make those things come to fruition, to manifest those things. But without the consistent going back to the faith through affirmations, through consistent high emotion, consistent belief in yourself and in the unseen process, because there's a lot of things that are going on that we just don't understand. You don't have to understand every single little thing that's going on in your life to use it for your own service. So, like, I don't need to know exactly how electricity works. It goes through some wires and from the electrical outlet to somehow to the switch. You turn it on, there's some kind of electrons flowing through resistance or something. I mean, I can't envision how it works, but you don't need to. All you need to know is you flip the switch, light comes on, now I can read, I can do whatever I need to do. And it's the same thing with all these universal processes. Things are going on constantly. You don't need to understand them. They're amazing. They're infinitely wise. There are things that are going on around law of attraction, law of vibration, law of polarity, all these laws are going on around you. But as long as you keep the faith, that's your creative process. When we're using our conscious mind, our consciousness to focus on what we believe and where we're going, that's us creating. When we're subconscious and in sort of survival mode, you're just kind of surviving. When you're constantly focusing on your goals repeatedly over and over, you're going to create. And it's that repeating that is absolutely key, I think. You will hit a wall 100%.
Yeah.
We have no idea how we're going to hit that goal. If we knew, we would have already attained it, right? So there's going to be things that are going to happen that are completely unexpected. And it's when things that are unexpected happen that we get frustrated. We think it's going to go like this and like that and like this, and it'll happen in a completely unexpected way. Accept it. It's completely normal.
Have to expect it, right?
Yeah, exactly. So go ahead, Eric. You wanted to add something to it? I could tell you were ready to jump in right when I.
Yeah, and I think that is truly the missing link, if you will, just like both of you all just said. Faith is, faith without works is dead. So we also have to make sure that we prove our faith, and it's proven through our works. And that really comes to the true belief part of it, right? So, like, if you, for example, if you say you have a money goal, oh man, I want to do $5,000 a month, right? But you say you want to do $5,000 a month, but your works prove different. You say you want to do it, but you go and now you have to really question your faith. Like, is your faith really real? Do you really wholeheartedly believe it with every bit of your fiber and your being that is going to happen and it's going to come to fruition if the works don't match the words? And so it shows itself. It truly shows itself. But on the flip side of that, if your faith is big, if your faith is bigger than your fear, which is huge, that's that things will happen that are absolutely unbelievable. I mean, you have no way that you can explain it. As soon as I said it, I had chills just go all through my body. but you truly can't explain what happens when your faith is bigger than your fear. You just know without a shadow of a doubt that it's going to happen. And I spend a lot of time talking with Lee, and we've been working together quite a bit on the Elevate Network, and just talking through stuff. And I never really have said it up until this moment. I think it's the first time I'm going to say it in his presence, but I'm always so intrigued and amazed by the fact that he's done something new. Like I look at the network and it's like, man, he's done this. And sometimes I'm like, man, how in the hell is he doing this? Because I'm like, man, what in the world? But what I understand is it truly is his faith. It's the faith that it'll come to me. Like we'll come up with an idea, or he'll say something. Hey, man, I'm thinking about doing this, and within the week it'll be done. I'm like, this dude is ridiculous, man.
Yeah.
But again, that's the faith. That's the faith with works. And we see
there's some new stuff on there you don't even know about yet.
it.
I woke up at 3:00 in the morning. I've been working on it ever since.
Yeah.
I had to teach
I'll tell you about it when it's actually people can actually use it. It's in the infancy, but you're absolutely right. And you yourself, you've done some pretty amazing things yourself, right, Eric? Like the programs you're doing, like you're even working in the real estate industry, teaching people. That must have had a lot of faith that you're going to make it happen.
That, man, listen, that was all about faith. Because I mean, when we met, I was far from this. And to say, hey man, I think that eventually I'm going to teach some real estate classes. From that to now I own a real estate school, and I've literally had a class every single day this week. As a matter of fact, I was running. Oh my gosh, thank goodness I didn't get a speeding ticket. But I was running trying to get back here today to make sure that I was here for this Think and Grow Rich mastermind, because again, this is it, man. This is people don't understand that what we're talking about today is truly it. Like if you get today's subject, your life will never be the same, ever, 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 ever.
It takes practice too, though. Like it's not just going to happen.
Yeah,
you got to work. And
it's like a muscle, man. It's like like you don't see somebody go to the gym one day and lift weights and enter a Mr. Universe contest. I mean, it's
there goes my dream.
I know, right? I'm sorry to bust your face.
He's working for you.
2 push-ups. Just 2 push-ups, Lee, and you're there. 2 push-ups.
Just 2? All right.
Just two.
Next week I'll be here with no shirt on, which
I know, right? Flexing. You're gonna have
one of these.
Have a calendar.
I'm heading over there.
Speaking of that, I have a good friend, Eric Josen, who we call him the 100 Marathon Man, and I'm trying to get him onto here. Lee, we'll see. But he's ran over 100 marathons, like literally, and Ironman is actually in the Ironman now. When you see him, you wouldn't think, and not because he's a great athlete, you have to be, right? But he's so unassuming. When he started when I think he said he was 38 or 39, way overweight. Never mind running a marathon. He couldn't run around the block. So when he started, he got inspired by one of his friends that I think ran the Boston Marathon, and he set that as a goal. He had a clue. It's clueless. But he did have the faith. He was always into these types, reading, Think and Grow Rich and other, so he had the faith. So he tried to jog around the block. He couldn't, but he said, you know what? I can get to the end of that telephone pole and back. And that's how he started. Started going to there, and then that was the second telephone pole, and then it was around the block, and then it was, and one thing led to another.
He had a pretty big burning desire to start with, coupled with faith, because
huge.
I don't know if too many people are going to run 100 marathons, so he must have had a real big dream there of what he wanted to accomplish.
He really did.
The faith that he could do it.
And he had the faith.
It's interesting too. What you're saying is he started out by just trying to go around the block.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the key. You got to start.
Yes.
People, it's a difference between having a burning desire and a wishful thought. A lot of people, the only way they're going to be millionaires is by buying a lottery ticket.
Mhm.
when the reality is anybody on this call or anybody watching can become a millionaire. Like,
Yeah.
that's the reality. You don't need to buy a lottery ticket. In fact, chances are expecting the lottery ticket to pay off will probably keep you from ever having any kind of wealth in your life ever, because it's focused your energy, which a lot of this is about vibration, is focused on the wrong things. Right? So,
Yeah.
something that was interesting too, I thought of, when it comes to vibration, you can feel the vibration of other people. Like, you can, walk in a room and, it feels energetic, or you can walk in a room and you wish you hadn't. And, I get that a lot. There's a lot of people I've known for a lot of years that, I still love them to death, but I don't really want to be in the same room with them because it's just negative, right? They're not going to change. I can't change them. And a lot of it has to do with they just don't want to. They're content where they're at. Problem is it's draining me. So I can't be around them for very long. I'll be nice, polite. Hi, how are you? Good to see you. Bye. Time to move on, right? So,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah, and
whoever says they can't hear anything, it's got something to do with your volume, I would imagine. Because I think we can hear each other. So, anyways, it led me to think of something with Karin here. As I'm saying that we can feel each other's vibration, but Karin works with horses, and they feel the vibration. Is that right, Karin? How that works? Like you have a client that maybe is trying to sort through some things, and the horse can tell them if they're in the right direction and the right vibration and things like that. Is that how that works?
Yeah, they can feel it. Yes, it's all vibration. So I see it very, very often with my clients. If they have a goal and they want to reach the goal so much, they bring so much pressure in this whole process, in this manifesting process. If you want something and if the people want something so badly, they bring so much struggle and pressure in the whole situation. And that's what the horses are feel. Yeah, they feel it and they say, okay, if you struggle, I don't go with you. And the same is with the universe. Yeah, universe says, okay, if you struggle, I just feel the vibration of struggle and not the vibration of happiness and joy. And that's the receiving mode. So you talked about many, many topics. So faith is for me the giving up to the universe, the giving up the how, giving up how it's gonna come into my life. And I know it from myself and I know it from my clients that I also ask, how can I feel a goal? How can I make it to my new belief? How can I change my paradigm? Yeah, because if you have new beliefs and new habits, so you change your paradigm. And how can I make my faith bigger? And how can I feel it? So, and that's what I say. You can train your heart and your mind and your body to feel it. And I think that's such an important work from us. That's our job, to train ourselves to feel it. Yeah, the emotions. This point when you can feel how it is when you've reached your goal, that's the point when it's done. Yeah. So and this giving up is not giving up and not focus on the goal. This giving up is just giving up the how and giving up the struggle. And this is trust. And trust and faith is so close for me. Because if I trust, then I have the faith. And if I have the faith, I have the trust. And that's why the auto suggestion is a very is a great tool, and also the visualization and affirmation. I think everybody should use this tool which works best for him. But I can say the auto suggestion is really a great tool. I think it's much better for me than the visualization. And this is the repetition. You can train your body, because if you feel it in your heart, you train your heart, and then you get the heart and brain coherence. Then if you can feel it, you have the right thoughts, and if you have the right thoughts, you have the similar feelings and the emotions. And this is, then you are on the right vibration, because if you feel good and this all day long, then you speak the language of the universe. That's
Right.
it.
Yeah.
In what situation, however it is. Yeah.
You brought up one thing. I think I explained my situation, my rock bottom. I was always reading these books and focusing on goals and affirming and visualizing and all of it. And I still do it to this day. It's just, I you resonated with me when you said they get frustrated, not when things don't come the way you expected them. You set the goal and it's almost like that's the thing. I achieve the goal, I succeed. I don't achieve the goal, I failed. And that's how I was thinking. But it's not about actually, what I learned is it's not about achieving the goal. The goal allows you to create, to really release your potential, to put things in motion, set it to the universe will figure it out 100%. But it's not the achieving of the goal that's the thing. It's giving you the spice of life to get up. Life is beautiful as it is. We're beautiful as we are already. We have so much to be grateful for. We're perfect as is. We should just be happy that we get to experience this point in time in this amazing little ball in the middle of the universe. It's an amazing time to be and live. That's true no matter what we're trying to do. So setting the goal gets us excited. It opens up our heart, so, keeps our vibration high. But whether we achieve it or not, it's actually the journey that's the exciting part, not the destination. Actually, once you achieve the goal, it's almost anticlimactic. You achieve it, let's say it's $1 million, you become a millionaire. Fantastic. Okay, I did it. I become a millionaire. I see 6 zeros in my bank account with a 1 after. Okay, that's great. Now what? It's not like, life's done. Oh, I've done it. It's, oh, well, that was great. It was a great run. I'm done. No, you set whatever the goal is, and it doesn't have to be, it could be whatever it is. You can set, value goals, what kind of father you are, what kind of son, what kind of friend. All those things are important. And to lead, well, Bob Proctor's point, Emily's point, setting a type C goal, one that's really you haven't a clue how to reach, a big, large goal, is so key. When I learned in business is to set SMART goals. SMART goals are, realistic goals, they call it realistic, which are basically what Bob Proctor calls either type B or type A goals, which are either attainable or how to attain them. And that's actually not the key. The key is to set a gigantic type C goal where you haven't a clue, but you can set micro steps. Like you don't know how to become a millionaire, let's say, but you know that you can go take a course or read a book. So that's the type, SMART goal is the next step. But the ultimate goal, you're going to need a whole bunch of steps. All you need to know is how to take the next one.
You have to have
From there, you'll learn something new, right?
You have to have faith to believe that those steps will come.
Exactly.
That's the key. And when you do have that faith, like that big goal you're talking about, with faith, you understand the answer is already here. Like how to have it already exists. It's not like it has to be created. It's already here. And what happens with your faith is you tune into it. Like this universe, by way of your faith, that expectation in your heart shows you the path. And going back to what you're saying in regards to the journey, like I always like the analogy too that by the way, somebody just says Facebook user said, "Hi, Walter."
Oh, hello.
You have a fan.
Awesome.
So anyways, I like the analogy of, at Christmas, you think of children, how excited they are. Like it could be, we're talking, it could be a month, 2 months before Christmas, and they just so excited about Christmas morning, right? And they get up, they can't wait to get up. They can't sleep. They can't wait to get up and go and open presents. They start ripping them open and they got all these great new presents. But by the end of the day, they're bored to death. right? Because all the excitement's gone. They've already reached their goal. So, we're like that. Once you reach your goal, you need to have a new one. And I think you're going to find that while you're on your journey, the goal gets bigger anyways, because you start to realize that you can go farther before you even get there. And even like when you look at some of the billionaires in the world, some of them are just egomaniacs. A majority of them understand that. Like, it's not about how much money they have. It's about being able to accomplish what's next. Like you look at like Elon Musk and Richard Branson, they want to be, flying people to Mars. Okay, like that's a big goal. And what's beautiful about it is they're getting there. We'll probably see it in our lifetime. If we keep working hard, we might be able to afford to go. But the reality is it will exist. They're already flying people into space.
Yeah.
So we definitely, I think in our lifetime, we'll see some kind of habitation on the moon. It's going to happen, and that's because people have goals, and they have faith that they're going to find the answer to getting there. Like if you were to go back 200 or 300 years ago and tell somebody you're going to put somebody on the moon, they'd probably hang you, call you a witch or something. Like it's right. They think that you're insane, but yet it's been done. So there is, if you can see it and you have faith in your heart, it's already yours.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that's going to stop you is your old conditioning, the way you've been conditioned to see things. Like if you're raised in an environment where money was always a struggle, then the idea of it not being a struggle is going to be foreign to you. That doesn't mean that you can't have wealth. It just means that maybe you're going to have go through a few more hurdles. You may need to look deep inside, understand where it's coming from, and work on it. And that goes back into auto-suggestion. I think I come to think of it, page 56 here. Colleen Hill says repetition of affirmation of orders to your subconscious mind is the only known method of voluntary development of the emotion of faith. Right? You keep telling yourself the information that you want. And this is something too that I think it's important to understand is your subconscious mind has no ability to accept or reject anything. The reason why you think the way you think is because you accepted whatever your environment told you, whether it was right or wrong. A lot of cases, people grew up in great environments, great parents, they saw their family successful and everybody's living a wonderful life. But a lot of people, the majority of people, grow up in environments where they struggle. There's struggling at school, struggling in their environment. So when you have that big, giant, burning desire to accomplish something, your faith is going to be tested by your own conditioning, right? And that conditioning, again, can be changed through autosuggestion with the constant repetition of affirmations. And one thing that you always hear me say, don't watch the news. And that's one big reason right there is they have an agenda and it's not what's in your best interest. It's usually got something to do with, promoting something that they've all got an interest in or promoting some political, some situation, something along those lines. But they're constantly telling you something that may have a little bit of the truth in it, but most of it is spun in a certain way. And they know through the constant repetition of that information, you're going to believe it. Even if it's a lie, it becomes the truth. I don't know how many times I be talking to people and they start spewing something they heard on CNN or some other place. And I'm thinking, that's not even true, man. And yet they're convinced it's absolutely true. Right. And that's the thing is we can convince ourselves of anything with the constant repetition of information. So pick something good. One of the things that I have these, in fact, if anybody wants them, we can certainly just say you want them and we'll get them to you. I've got 60 I am affirmations that I'm going to read them all. I'll just read the first few. I don't even know if maybe some of their, okay, I'll just read the first few of them here. It says, I am releasing all limiting beliefs about myself. I am at ease with both my strengths and weaknesses. I am proud of all my accomplishments, big and small. I am learning to step out of my comfort zone. I'm always served well by my inner wisdom. I am capable of thriving in any situation. I am confident in my ability to achieve my goals. I am sure of myself and stand up for my beliefs. I am a powerful force for positive change. I am unshakable in my storm. It goes on. Like, okay, there's grateful ones. There's ones about being happy, success. Even the weight loss one. I got this one for weight loss, which, by the way, it actually works. I'll just read these and then I'll be done with it. But again, if anybody would like these, just somehow let us know, and we'll make sure you can have these if you want them. So this one's for weight loss, and the thing too with weight loss is I learned this from Bob, is when you think about weight loss, you're automatically telling yourself that you're overweight, when we have to be focusing on the goal, which means your perfect weight, right? Like, I don't weigh myself. I just look at, okay, do the clothes fit better? Then I'm going in the right direction. If they're getting tighter, I'm going in the wrong direction. That kind of thing. So anyways, this one's about weight. I'm letting go of old habits that no longer serve me. I'm honoring my body by making better choices. I am enjoying foods that are healthy and taste great too. I am proud of my effort to take better care of my body. I am amazed to discover that exercise can be fun. Yeah, sometimes. Like two sit-ups, Eric?
2 push-ups.
2 push-ups. I'm beginning to see a slimmer me in the mirror. I'm grateful for everyone who supports and encourages me. I'm setting a great example for my family and friends. I'm feeling a lot less stressed and a lot more energetic. I'm becoming the best that I can be as I create a leaner, healthier body. Again, you keep telling yourself that over and over again. When you put it out into the universe, like for example, just even with the weight, put it out in the universe, your burning desires to be your perfect weight. Well, the universe is going to show you how to do it. But if you've been conditioned, if you're an emotional eater, if you've got different things going on in your subconscious mind, it's going to stop you from moving in the direction you're being led. One of the things I learned a long time ago is when you have something, when you're looking for a solution, the very first thought is the right one. The second thought is your subconscious mind is saying, that's not how we do things. It causes doubt. It causes worry. It causes stress. It causes anxiety. And guess what? People quit. Right? So if you want to win, you must have faith. And anytime that your subconscious wants to tell you something different, understand where it's coming from. It doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. It doesn't mean that you're at fault. It doesn't mean you're to blame. It just means you've been conditioned to see things different from the direction you want to go. See, that burning desire comes from that higher power. It was built right into you. That's why it's something so important to you. But think of how many people, just probably like 90, I'm going to say 97% of the population are not living their life the way they should be. And yet they can. Think what this world would be like if we all had faith and followed our dreams.
Amazing.
There'd be no problems, would there? You
Amazing.
wouldn't have to be listening to, like I mentioned, CNN and talking about, oh, we need to do this and do this. The sky's falling. It's all that guy's fault, right? You wouldn't have to listen to that because it wouldn't exist. Nobody would care. Yeah. Nobody's going to want to listen to it because it would have no benefit whatsoever. People were just following their desires, and they had faith that it was all going to work out because it will.
Yeah, the key to everything is becoming self-aware, and self-aware, what does that mean? It just means that you start realizing that we're talking about the ego, that subconscious, the inner voice, the non-stop inner voice, the chatter, constant, and it's always what's wrong, what's wrong, what's wrong. There's our lizard brain, which is our basically our survival instinct, our fight or flight response. And then there's our ego that just assesses the world based on our Bible, which is our paradigm. When you realize that you are not your paradigm, that you are the receiver of that information, that really that ego and the lizard brain and fight or flight response is a built-in system to keep you safe. We're basically just advanced primates. We're advanced animals. And that autopilot, our subconscious, is an amazing thing. It keeps track of everything for us. Our heart is beating, blood is pumping, cells are being regenerated. All that's automatic. It's all for us, to serve us. We're not conscious of any of that. It's an amazing machine. But part of that ego, that inner voice, is there for one of two things: to assess the world based on what you've taken in, your paradigm, and whether something's a threat or not. That's it. Anything that happens, what's the threat risk? Someone laughed. Oh, why'd Sally laugh at me? I must have, spinach in my teeth, and your inner voice just starts going. It's never a positive thing. It's always, what's wrong, right? But that's not you. When you take a step back and kind of say, that's a system that helps you, right? It gives you the information of what, with this situation, what's my paradigm? This is what I believe with this situation. That's what it's for, but it's not you. So once you realize that you are not that system, and that you can actually program that system, just like Lee said, right? It's all through affirmation, repetition. There's only one of two ways that things get stuck into your subconscious: through repetition or some highly charged emotional event. If anyone's been in a car accident, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. I got rear-ended by an 18-wheeler, and for 10 years, every time I looked into that rearview mirror, instantly, if I see a car speeding up behind me a little too quick, you just freeze up. That just took one instant, right? But through repetition, that's something you have complete control over. And also through, putting emotion behind it. So when you set your goal, you're going to attain it. It's already attained, right? A goal doesn't exist, when it manifests. That's just the end result of the process. You need to come up with the goal. You need to believe that goal. You have to go through the steps to achieve that goal, and then the goal comes. But the second you come up with that event and you believe it, faith is everything else. That's when that thing becomes real. It takes those steps to make it manifest. But the second you believe it, truly believe it, that's when the goal becomes real. And then you just follow the process, right? Till it manifests.
One of the things too that Napoleon Hill points out a lot actually in here, and there's actually I think it's 5 steps. Yeah, he talks a lot about self-confidence, and if you don't have the confidence in your heart, it doesn't matter. Well, you won't have the faith because you don't believe it's going to happen, which is kind of a shame. And again, that goes back to that subconscious conditioning, again, environment you grew up in. Things like that will constantly make you feel as though you're unworthy in some way, which, the reality is you are worthy of anything and everything you can ever imagine. Whether you obtain it or not, a lot has to do with self-conscious or self-confidence. So let me just read what Napoleon Hill said. I'll just highlight a few parts, and he's talking about self-confidence here. Positive thought impulses stated in writing, memorized and repeated until they become a part of the working equipment of the subconscious faculty of your mind is what's important here. So we've got the self-confidence formula here. So he says, first, I know that I have the ability to achieve the object of my definite purpose in life. Therefore, I demand of myself persistent, continuous action toward its attainment. And I here and now promise to render such action. Second, I realize that dominating thoughts of my mind will eventually reproduce themselves in outward physical action and gradually transform themselves into physical reality. Now, notice he says physical action, like you must act, right? So they transform themselves into physical reality. Therefore, I will concentrate my thoughts for 30 minutes daily upon the task of thinking of the person I intend to become, thereby creating in my mind a clear mental picture of that person. Now, that's an interesting thing when it comes to self-confidence is you got to build a picture of yourself confident. Your subconscious mind is going to say that's a lie. That's not who we are. But that's, again, only to do with conditioning. You can change that with the constant repetition of that brand new image of yourself. So third, I know through the principle of autosuggestion, any desire that I persistently hold in my mind will eventually seek expression through some practical means of attaining the object back of it. Therefore, I will devote 10 minutes daily to demanding of myself the development of self-confidence. Fourth, I have clearly written down a description of my definite chief aim in life, and I will never stop trying until I shall have developed sufficient self-confidence for its attainment. Fifth, I fully realize that no work or position can long endure unless built upon truth and justice. Therefore, I will engage in no transaction which does not benefit all whom it affects. I will succeed by attracting for myself the forces I wish to use and the cooperation of other people. I will induce others to serve me because of my willingness to serve others. I will eliminate hatred, envy, jealousy, selfishness, and cynicism by developing a love for all humanity, because I know that a negative attitude towards others can never bring me success. I will cause others to believe in me because I believe in them and in myself. I will sign my name to this formula, commit it to memory, and repeat it aloud once a day, and with full faith that it will gradually influence my thoughts and actions so that I will become a self-reliant and successful person. Now, you notice he said gradually. Like, that's the key. Now, for some person, they could change almost immediately. Some people might take a while. Like, I'm kind of slow. It's taken me a long time. but I'm getting there because I keep going. I have faith at some point. By the time I'm ready to leave this world, I may have accomplished something. And I'm pretty confident. Actually, I think we're all working on something right now with the Elevate Network. Like, a lot of what we're talking about here about doing things for others and serving others and that kind of stuff, that's what we're doing. That's why we're here today doing what we're doing, right?
Yep.
So, Karin, you got some things you'd like to add? I've watched you actually, and I haven't known you that long, but over a year, I think, and something like that. But I've seen you were in a pretty good place when I met you, but I've seen your confidence level almost skyrocket in the last few months. Like, you're moving into a new place, you're excited, everything's going well, you got clients, it's, you seem happier. This woman never stops smiling, by the way, just in case anybody's wondering. Like, you always see her on here smiling. She's like that 24/7. I have a feeling when she's sleeping, she's got the same smile. Just saying. I have no idea. Maybe we should set up a camera and just watch and see if she's smiling, right? So, anyways,
Yeah.
what would you like to say?
Yeah, that's true. That's what I trained for myself, so I can talk about my experiences. I had times in my life when I was not happy, and that's exactly when everything around me stopped. Yeah, nothing happened. Everything stopped. I had a feeling that the whole world around me stopped. And that how I changed it was a repetition, was a training. I trained myself. And believe me, it's the process is simple, but sometimes not easy. To be consequent, to have the willpower, and that you really make it every day. Yeah, that's the repetition. And that's how I trained myself into these new feelings. And that's all. When you feel it, you got it. And the training, the repetition. But the most people struggle with good feelings and with happiness because they look around what is, and that's a big problem. So what happens when we are a child and we dream and we tell stories about the fairy tales and the unicorns, and at one time we hear, oh, don't talk about the unicorns again, and don't talk about fairy tales, tell me the truth. Yeah, tell me the truth, tell me what is, not what you want to see. And yeah, I remember I have this situation, and that's my paradigm. That was my paradigm. I changed. And I think that's a big problem. But what many people have, that they look only what is right now. They don't have the faith in their dreams. They don't know the power of the faith. Yeah.
It's back to that. We are our consciousness. We're not that voice that we hear. We're hearing that little voice in our head. But again, we somehow think that voice is us. It's not, because we're hearing ourselves say it. So we're the receiver of that thing, right? What I found, because it seems, when you're starting the journey, it seems so hard to shut that voice down, right? But it's really not. when you realize that you're not that voice. You almost
Yeah,
separate yourself, right?
exactly, Walter.
Let
Yeah.
let the voice is going to come. The trick is, I was reading a book now by Michael Singer. Amazing book. Funny enough, I forget the name of it, but I will post it after. His analogy is, you've got these thoughts that pop into your head. They're just thoughts, right? It's not until your conscious sticks to them that they become something in your life, right? They become real. You keep going back to past trauma or anger or whatever. You relive it like it's now because your consciousness goes there, because you allow your consciousness to go where that thought's taking you. But you don't have to. You can let that thought come in and say, listen, that feeling is not what I am. That's not who I am. So I'm going to cut behind it. I'm just going to let it go. We see things come and go all the time, right? You see a car, you see a tree, you don't fixate on it. You have the choice to come and go. It's just a thing. It's your choice. So if you have a negative thought that comes, make the conscious effort to say, that's not who I am right now. I'm going to get behind it and let it go. He was saying this amazing analogy.
Will my thoughts take me where I want to go, or are they going to keep me stuck?
There you go.
Like I can see wheels spinning in Eric's mind there. You got something you want to add here?
Yeah, I mean, I was just thinking about, man, I was, what really has been sticking with me is the self-confidence piece, right? So I watched that happen live, both in my life and in my father's life, because my father was the most confident man that I'd ever met in my life, with his ability to make things happen. And so when I was growing up, I always looked at him as Superman, and always, he made the impossible possible, from just life and life in general. And because of his level of confidence, I set goals when I was young, and I had that same level of confidence. Like, I think I was 8 years old, I told my mom that before I turned 30, I would have a job where I wore a suit and tie, and I would help people. And 2 weeks before my 30th birthday, I became the director of safety for the school district, right? And I would tell them things that I was going to do, and I just had so much faith that it would happen. I'm going to college, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And he was so confident until my mom passed. And when my mom passed, he kind of questioned things, like he kind of questioned his existence. I did watch him get remarried, and he questioned himself on every decision. And I watched him go from this pillar of a man to kind of a shell of a person, simply because he just couldn't believe in himself anymore. And I think back to when I left the school district, how, I was rocky and shaky because I lost that self-confidence and that faith in myself. And I know that was sticking with me, because there is someone who needs to hear this message, that somebody right now is in a spot where they just don't believe that they can make something happen. And I'm here to tell you, and all of us are here to tell you, that that's false information. Anything you put your mind to, man, if you have that faith in yourself, it will happen. It's like the law of gravity. If I take a pen, if I take this paddle off the wall and drop it, it will fall to the ground. There's no questioning about that. Right. So if you have the faith in yourself the exact same way, it will happen. Like, it must happen. It's not a maybe, sort of, kind of. Now, are you going to have to go through some stuff? Absolutely. It's not. It's like Kip Carn said. It's simple, but it's not easy. It's
Yeah.
Again, I guess I'm the cusser of the group, but you're gonna go through some shit, man. I mean, it's going to happen. It's going to happen to you. You're going, because again, your faith must be tested to make sure that that's where you want to go. I just so happened I read a quote about, I heard a video of Kobe, and he was talking about, because all of us has that voice, every single one of us. We think we're the only person, we think we're crazy, and we don't want to talk to other people about it, because I don't want people to know that I talk to myself like that. But everybody has that voice.
Mhm.
And I heard Kobe talk about, he said, I make a contract with myself and that's it. He said, so when I'm working out, when I start working out, I get on the track and I have all of this stuff, all of these plans that I need to do. And the inner voice will be like, well, come on, Kobe, we can just run one lap or we could do this. He says immediately he shut it down. Like, nope, nope, nope. I made the contract with myself. This is what I'm going to do. And that's his level of faith. Like I don't, the voice, it can come because it's going to come. It's coming, that's for sure. But where's your faith? Is your faith in where you want to go, or is your faith in the fear of in any type of fear? Fear of success, fear of failure, fear of what other people are going to say to you, or about you, fear of how you're going to look to the world. But again, those fears keep us from reaching our purpose and reaching our full potential. And I'm extremely grateful for going through this mastermind, because again, man, listen, people think that it's only you that's going through it. All of us go through this, every single one of us. And all of us are actually in the process of recreating ourselves right this moment.
Yep.
And so that's some scary stuff. The
Yeah,
voice, the voices,
absolutely.
yeah, the voices come. The Karin is moving into a new place, and the voices are coming. Like we're going through this elevate journey. The voices come. The voice. I'm sure Lee wakes up in the morning and the voice is, "Dude, you're sleepy. Just go back to sleep. Come on, man. Lay back down. Let's just chill for a minute." He's like, "No, man, I got something."
I get that all day.
Yeah.
Go take a
Right?
nap, would you? Go take a
Yeah,
nap. Oh, I
yeah.
got stuff to do.
Yeah. I think the key is to, it's almost like that freaking voice. But you know what? That voice is there to try and keep us safe. That's all it is.
Mhm.
It's trying to, hey, don't hurt yourself. Don't overdo it. What if you fail? All of that is just it trying to keep you safe. That's its job. It's our system. Understand that's all it is. It is not you. You are that consciousness. You are wherever direction you're going. That's why you're here, is to unleash your potential, to be the greatest
I love
you could possibly be. Okay?
Walter's version of cussing is freaking.
I think that's a Canadian thing, freaking.
Yeah.
See, through auto suggestion, Eric, you're getting Walter to loosen up. With the constant repetition of you cussing, as you call
Of me cussing, right?
you cussing, you're going to get Walter and Karin and perhaps me. You already get me doing it. I just don't do it here. You should hear him and I talk when we're not live like this. What? But, see how auto suggestion works? Keep telling yourself things like that. And actually, if we're getting closer to wrapping up here, there's a verse in here that Pauline Hills shared. I think it's pretty good. Again, it's about auto-suggestion, and through which any person may rise to attitudes of achievement which stagger the imagination, is well described in the following verse. So, if you think you are beaten, you are. If you think you dare not, you don't. If you like to win, but you think you can't, it's almost certain you won't. If you think you'll lose, you're lost. Far out of the world we find, success begins with a fellow's will. It's all about the state of mind. If you think you are outclassed, you are. You've got to think high to rise. You've got to be sure of yourself before you can ever win a prize. Life's battles don't always go to the stranger or faster man, but soon or late, the man who wins is the man who thinks he can. That's pretty good. And that's the key is, the faith is going to come from you believing that you can. And the understanding, the awareness that you're part of a universe that wants you to win, even though the world you live in might suggest that it doesn't want you to win. That goes back to, again, I mentioned media. Don't listen to them. They don't want you to win. And again, auto suggestion. They keep telling you stuff. Well, guess what? You're not going to win. Right. And it robs you of the faith you need to live the life you want to live. And like we said earlier in this call, that if we all thought this way, if we all followed our burning desire and had faith in achieving it, what a wonderful world we'd be living in. You wouldn't need politics.
Absolutely.
You wouldn't
Yeah.
need politics. You wouldn't have to be electing presidents and prime ministers and chancellors and whatever else there is out there. You wouldn't need them. In fact, I don't think we need them now, but at the same time, we definitely would need
You
them.
anarchist. What do you
Yeah,
think?
yeah. We could get to the point where everything is fantastic. So I think maybe you start looking at leaving that for now because we're getting near the end here. But what I wanted to do is also mention that Walter has a new program up on the Elevate Network called. Well, why don't you just tell us about it there, Walter, and then
Yeah,
I'll take a moment to say goodbye to those who are watching and
thanks.
listening.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's based on my book, the CBAR book. It's chapter 2, which is basically the power of the mind. But the course is called Thought 2.0, Upgrade Your Mind. And it talks a lot about what we were talking about here, just how your paradigms are created, the role of your subconscious, your ego, how to become self-aware, all of that. So yeah, it just got released. Is it going to be released just now, Lee, or will be released shortly? Or?
It's up and live.
Perfect.
And there's an announcement goes out tomorrow telling all the members that it's there live. It's up and it's rocking and rolling.
Excellent. Yeah, and I've gone through Eric's, I've gone through Karen's course, I've gone through yours too, Lee. They're all amazing. So part of setting goals is also having people with similar energy around you.
Yeah.
It's really important. At least point, you're elevating yourself to another vibration. It doesn't mean everybody else around you is going to be happy with that. You're changing. The old you is gone, and the new you may not fit in with the old people. You need to have new relationships and new people that see similarly to you. So that's what this is also about. These kind of courses change your thinking and change your life because they change how you're thinking on a regular basis. So yeah, thanks to both Eric and Karen and Lee for your courses. And yeah, you guys can now.
Thank you for sharing yours. And one thing that we've added, I don't think you guys even know about it, is there's now a community on the Elevate Network. It's kind of like Facebook in some ways, where you can ask questions, leave comments, say whatever you want, and things like that. So I highly recommend you use it. It's a way to communicate with the other members. And we've also got another thing coming. I'm playing with it. It's a little bit of work, and it's something that can be added to all the courses, and that's quizzes, where you have a question and place to answer it, and it'll keep track of where you're at and how far along you've gone, and so on and so on. So I think that we've talked about it many times. It's one thing knowing the information, and another thing actually understanding it. And I know even when I was studying with Bob Proctor, there's lots of people, wonderful people there that could recite everything in Bob's program. And then when you go and see them in the real world, it's pretty safe to say that that's where it ends. They can recite it, and then they don't understand it. They're not applying it. So I think by adding the quizzes to the programs is going to help people think more. Now, it's one thing to watch the videos, read the books, or listen to the audio, whatever's there. But it's another thing to actually think about what you've been studying on. So I think that maybe leave it there. We're at the end of the hour, and before we say goodbye to everyone, anybody final thoughts? Anybody? Come on, say goodbye.
I don't want to talk anymore. I always just keep talking. I want to. You guys have to have the final say. Go ahead.
We'll let Walter talk, and it will just slowly fade it out. Get some music playing at the end or something like that. Walter still be talking. It's like,
I would encourage everyone to let your faith be bigger than your fear, because your faith will take you places that you could only imagine and dream of. So let your faith be bigger than your fear.
That's good. Right. Yeah, that's great. And be aware of the inner voice. Don't let the voice talk and talk and talk. Make the inner voice to your friend. And if you don't want to listen to the inner voice, listen what the inner voice says. If the inner voice is on your side and supports you, and then you can listen to your inner voice. But if it's the the side that talks against you, don't listen to it, but become aware that the inner voice is here. And if it's not that what you need right now in this situation, put it away and dream big, have faith, and trust that everything exists already.
Mm,
It's important, I think, too, that that inner voice that Karen's talking about there is not your enemy.
mm,
It thinks it's keeping you safe.
Mhm.
It's just been programmed wrong. You know, you got a desire in your heart that was probably from day one when you entered this world. You had some little spark inside of you that wanted you to go in a certain direction. But as you're growing older, you get conditioned to believe that that's the wrong direction.
Yeah.
And it's not. And again, your subconscious, that inner voice, is not your enemy. It's just programmed wrong, which means that you can reprogram it. And a lot of what we're talking about right now is exactly how you do it. We've all done it.
Yeah.
You know, everybody right now is living a different life than they were like 10, 20, 50 or 50, 30 years ago. Like it's, you know, we're all only 39 years old, so it's no way it was 50.
Right. I was wondering.
Yeah. I'm only 39, so 50 years ago, this is not
Let me pull everything back.
I
Okay,
know,
there.
right? Yeah. Instead of get one of those, get a clip and just pull everything.
The beauty is the more affirmation, the more you focus on your goals, your inner voice becomes your friend, because as it gets programmed,
Yeah.
that becomes the first reaction is a positive one because
Yeah.
you programmed it that way.
Yep.
Yeah, make
All
the
right.
inner voice your friend. Exactly.
Make it
Yeah.
your
Anybody,
friend.
you know, anybody that's ever followed Bob Proctor, he had a money affirmation that I think everybody knows. And I started saying, and it was really quite amazing that within a matter of a few weeks, I started getting money coming from places that I didn't really expect. You know, I planned on it. You know, I was doing certain things for that specific reason, but there was still part of me, that inner voice was saying, "Oh, that'll never happen." I can hear my dad say, "Oh, go get a job." Right? Who you think you are? You know, that kind of thing. But I'll just share with you, and you probably might have heard it already, is I'm so happy and grateful now that money comes to me in increasing amounts from multiple sources on a continuous basis. I guarantee you, if you keep saying that over and over and over again, you're going to start getting excited about stuff. You're going to start getting, you know, ideas flowing, getting you focusing on, you know, how do I improve my financial situation? So just keep saying it. I am so happy and grateful now that money comes to me in increasing amounts from multiple sources on a continuous basis. And I can tell you, it works. Have faith in the fact that it works. I'm talking,
Oh, yeah.
I'm talking from experience. It
Yep.
works, right? So
It
anyways,
works.
let's wrap things up. Again, thanks for those who have joined us. I see we have quite a few people. I was trying not to watch it because last week I was preoccupied with what was going on. And I see that we have Larry Daniels is here again from last week. I think he's a certified Think and Grow Rich person. And I've got some people that said hi, Lee, but it doesn't say who. So maybe Deborah Amberly, who was here last week. But anyways, it's nice to know that people are following us and following along with the replays. And of course, this all gets put back up on the Elevate Network. If you're a member, or even if you just want to go and check out the replays, they are there. You don't need to be a member to watch that. And I'm pretty sure you don't even need to be a member to put comments and things like that into the community side of things. So if you go to the site, it's myelevatenetwork.com. You'll see all this stuff is on there, and hope you enjoy it. And is that it? Everybody's said their last words.
We're good.
Yes, sir.
Guys, good. All right.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Eric, Karen.
We'll see you all next week, and it's on auto suggestion, right?
Believe it is.
Good. Great
Thanks,
topic. All right. Take care.
Hey,
Take care.
Bye.